I want to do something big and bold and something that is so big that we may not even make any money doing it because it's gonna pretty much eat up all of our profit. But I'm like, I'd rather do orthodontics for free and at least be busy rather than sitting around and be bored.
This is Small Business Celebration, where we introduce you to successful small business owners at their place of business so that you can learn something that you can use today to grow a strong and profitable business and get your next big breakthrough. Welcome to another fantastic episode here on Small Business Celebration. We're going to be talking about, okay, how much money do you put in investing in new technology to keep your business ahead of the game? We're also going to be talking about, there's that one thing that you don't really want to do, but how do you motivate yourself to do it? Well, to guide us through all that is Dr. Wes Cardall, the owner of Cardall Orthodontics. Welcome to Small Business Celebration.
Thank you.
And for Visioneers who don't know who you are, who are you and what is it that you do?
I'm Dr. Wes Cardall, and I'm an orthodontist, and so I create amazing smiles and healthy bites.
Now, the reason we're here with Dr. Cardall is not because of the lovely picture of producer Emily in the waiting room as you come in. It's because you have actually grown a business that uses technology in a fantastic way. This didn't happen just overnight. How did you get your start in this business?
Actually, before I even became an orthodontist, I actually practiced general dentistry for a few years.
Okay.
Which most orthodontists don't, but I feel like...
Why did you take that route?
After dental school, I wanted to go into orthodontics, but I was burnt out. I was tired of so much school, and I thought, it would be nice to just go and work for a little bit, make some money, and not be slaving away in the lab. And it just, I don't know, just school, it can be intense, especially dental school.
Why did you make the shift after a couple years?
So after 3 years in private practice, I decided it was time. I'd kind of gotten my break, and it was time to go on and fulfill my dream, which was always to become an orthodontist.
Why is that?
I really liked the cosmetic aspects of dentistry. And so even in my orthodontics that I practice now, it's very highly aesthetic. So I'm very focused on the smile. And because I love just the cosmetic aspect of dentistry and also orthodontics. So that was part of it. I like that the appointments are shorter.
Okay.
So I'm usually only at the chair for 5 or 10 minutes at a time with dentistry. Sometimes you're with the same patient in the chair for hours at a time. And I have ADD and to some extent. So I liked shorter appointments, and let's move along and let's get a lot done. And that aspect appealed to me. Also, I thought it'd be better on my back, just physically, because there's back problems in my family. And I thought being bent over the same patient for 2 hours at a time, that's not as good, probably long term on my back.
How much business school did they teach you in dental school?
I think we got one course, and it was a short course, like 1/4 semester, so very little.
How did you learn the business side of dentistry, and orthodontics specifically?
Mostly through experience, on the job training, a lot of study groups that I was in, like where we'd meet occasionally and email each other, and now it's Facebook groups and things like that.
As most dental practitioners and orthodontists, you started off by working for somebody else.
That's right.
What possessed you to want to go out on your own?
Originally, I did have a partner. I joined another practice, and we became partners. And then my partner decided he no longer wanted to be partners, and so it kind of forced me to go out and do my own thing. So
whether you liked it or not, huh?
Exactly. So in business, as your listeners surely know, not every partnership works out. I ended up starting my own company, and it's been great. To be honest, it's been a blessing.
Tell me about your first employee. What did you tell your employee how often she was going to work when you first started?
I didn't know how busy we were going to be.
Right.
And so I told my first employee, expect to only be here like maybe 2 to 3 days a week, part-time, and it may be like that for months, because I just didn't know how it was going to go.
Instead?
From the very first week, I told her, actually, this week's going to be 5 days a week and 40 hours, and then we'll see after that. And then we were slammed from the beginning, and every week after that, it's been 5 days a week. She likes to say that I hired her part-time, but it's never been a part-time from the beginning.
How did that validate you?
It really was helpful because I was very nervous about being busy, and I didn't want to sit around and be bored. That was, again, being like an ADHD type person.
Right.
That was my worst nightmare, is to sit around like waiting for people to walk in the door. So we were very aggressive in our marketing from the beginning. We went outside the box and did some crazy promotions.
Like what?
We offered like $2,000 off orthodontic treatment, which is unheard of
Right.
in orthodontics. But I'm like, I want to do something big and bold, and something that is so big that we may not even make any money doing it, because it's gonna pretty much eat up all of our profit. But I'm like, I'd rather do orthodontics for free and at least be busy rather than sitting around and be bored.
When you opened up this location, you were afraid that all the walls were going to be bare.
That's right.
Why was that a concern of yours?
I wanted to show off my work. In orthodontics, it takes 2 to 3 years before you see your results. I didn't have any finished patients that I had treated at my new business, so I ended up contacting a few patients that I had treated at my old office and got their permission to use some of their photos, put them up on my wall.
And one of those patients happens to be
Miss Emily. Yeah,
Producer Emily.
That's right. Yeah.
And she was a test case.
Yeah, we were kind of doing some experimental procedures with Invisalign, with clear aligner therapy, using a class 2 corrector, and she was an amazing patient, and so that was very helpful.
She actually followed the rules. She actually did what she was supposed to.
She sure did.
And what are some of the services that your office provides to Visioneers and business owners?
We provide braces, Invisalign, clear aligner therapy. We do high quality modern orthodontic treatment that's very aesthetic.
So what you're saying is the steel braces that I grew up with as a kid, they don't do that anymore?
Well, we still do those. Some people really want those, actually.
Really?
It's become really fashionable
Okay.
in our society to have actually metal braces.
Wow.
So we have adults and kids that want them, and then when I tell them that they're done and it's time to take them off, so many of them are mad at me that I'm going to take off their braces. It's the opposite of how I felt when I was young, and I wanted my braces off as soon as possible. But that's not how it is anymore.
And if you're looking for a new house to go with that brand new smile that you got from Dr. Wes Cardall, might I suggest you contact Mike Saba, a Zillow Premier Agent with Watson Realty, born and raised and never left Bakersfield. Give Mike Saba a call at 661-203-8406 or reach him at mikesaba1@icloud.com today. And Visioneers, if you've got a question, you've got a thought, something you'd like to learn about here on Small Business Celebration, reach out to us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram, and your question could appear here on Small Business Celebration, just like David, who asks, remaining at the forefront of current technology is crucial. How do you determine the appropriate budget for advancing research and technology within your sector?
I know when I built my new office, I wanted to be at the forefront of technology. So we decided to go all digital, invest only in digital products. So we don't use any of the goopy molds anymore. Most offices still use at the end of their orthodontic treatment.
Okay.
We use a 3D scanner, and then we do 3D printing to make the models of the teeth instead of pouring plaster into the molds. And
why is going with this technology so important to you?
I wanted to have a better experience for my patients. So a lot of times having that technology is just better. We're more accurate with our retainers and our aligners. It's a better experience overall.
But budgeting for all this and staying on the forefront, that's not easy, and nor is it cheap.
No.
How do you go through and budget for this and plan for this and organize this so that you're not left holding the bag on a technology that may or may not work?
So I'm not an earliest adopter.
Okay.
I'm a fairly early adopter, but I wait for some of those people to be the first guinea pigs with that new technology. So I didn't jump right into 3D printing right when it first came out, but I waited a year or two and then I jumped in. And I think that was the appropriate time. And there's still lots of orthodontists that haven't even adopted 3D printing, but I like to be early, but not earliest. I wait for prices to come down a bit and wait for the first iteration of that technology to have gotten the bugs worked out.
In general, you don't have to get specific on this. How much of your annual budget do you allocate to new technology or new technology research?
I always look, especially at the end of the year, and decide, what do we need to buy this year? And it varies from year to year.
Keeping up with this technology allows you to have more control over the 3D printing. Why is this important for your patients?
As we adopted 3D printing technology and we started doing some of our aligner cases and just basic tooth movements with our own software that was kind of newly developed by some people who had actually left Invisalign because Invisalign patents had run out, we found that we were actually getting better results by doing a lot of this treatment in-house with our own aligner system. We've actually transitioned away from Invisalign and we do our own manufacturing of all of our aligner cases now because we're getting better results. We've been able to control the process much better, and we don't have a technician in Costa Rica who is using AI to move the teeth. I'm actually moving the teeth myself using all processes that I've approved. We just end up with better results, more predictable finishes, so they're finishing on time just like producer Emily's case did a long time ago. But we just end up with great results, and I want to do everything that we can to just make our patients get better results faster and more efficiently.
And efficiency is the key, because that helps the bottom line.
Because we do everything in-house, we've actually started passing on some of the savings as well to our patients. So we're the only office in town that actually charges less for aligner cases than for braces cases.
Wow.
Most offices, there's actually an upcharge if you want to have clear aligners instead of braces, but we're actually the opposite. It's actually a little bit cheaper because we've been able to master that manufacturing process and keep everything in-house, and we've gotten so good at it. And I know that our cases are going to turn out so predictably that I'm comfortable with how we quote that discount.
With the advent of this new technology, did you have to take classes and courses?
I did. I've taken many CE courses on planning tooth movements, and also with some of our other technology, like we use like a laser to like remove gum tissue sometimes at the end of treatment. So taking courses on that and on just about everything related to new technology.
Where we're at is a new facility. Why did you choose this facility and this layout and this design?
I chose this facility because it was visible. So as you know, location
Right,
in
sure,
business. So
right.
I found a great location which was visible on a major street, which I think is the trend in orthodontics now. They used to set up in like doctor medical plazas where
Right.
you were tucked away in a big building, and that's just not how it's done anymore. We wanted visibility. We also wanted a sizable location where we had plenty of room to grow, a big parking lot. This spot has been great. We also wanted to be centrally located on kind of the west side of this town, where people from the north and the south and even the east could get to us pretty easily because we're so close to the West Side Parkway.
There are 3 well-known orthodontic practices within a mile of here. Is this the idea of sort of like Gasoline Alley, where everybody in town knows that all the right orthodontists are all in the same area? Or is this something where you're really competing against each other?
I don't know. I think it's just a great place to be. Again, it's kind of centrally located to town, so I think other orthodontists thought this is a great place. It's kind of newer. Honestly, I don't really think of the competition. I think different people might be attracted to different offices, but we're just trying to do the very best work. And everyone's got their own little niche of patient they're going for, but yeah, I think it's just a great place to be here on the west side of town.
And that brings us to the Visioneer game. Now, Visioneers, if you're not familiar with the way the game works, I have a random word generator here on my phone. I have no idea what the words the random word generator is going to create, but more importantly, neither does our guest. And our guest has to take 3 words that I give him and somehow associate each word with his business. Now, Dr. Cardall, you do realize that the fate of the entire dental industry, not just orthodontics, is based on your ability to get these 3 words correct. Are you ready?
I guess.
All right, your first word is bite.
Bite.
I cannot believe it.
Wow.
Totally random. We'll
That's
give you an
a
easy
great
one.
one.
Here's a softball.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Bite.
So yeah, a healthy bite is one of our big 2 goals. So I always say we want straight teeth with no gaps and then a healthy bite, which means the teeth should fit into the proper relationship, like a puzzle, so that you're biting correctly, helping your teeth to not wear down prematurely as you age. And it also helps your TMJ health and your teeth to stay straight. So a healthy bite is a really important part of our goal.
Congratulations,
You.
you're 1 for 1. Okay, so your second word is result.
Result. Man, that's also a pretty easy one because we're talking about results all day long. So we want amazing results. I take great pride in the way that we treat our patients and in the result that we get. So at the end of the day, we want a result that's very aesthetic, which means the smile should look amazing in all perspectives. And then, yeah, the bite should fit well and be very comfortable.
Well, congratulations. That's 2 for 2. Well done, you. Okay, your last word is remark.
We give a lot of remarks on, how our patients are performing with their elastic wear and with their brushing, their oral hygiene generally. There's a lot of remarks that we give to patients at the end of their appointments, and
please use your rubber bands.
Yes,
that's what we have
please.
them for.
Yes, it really makes my job a lot easier if you're wearing your rubber bands and brushing your teeth. If you're not, then you're going to get some remarks from me or from my team.
Well done, you. That's 3 for 3. The world of orthodontic dentistry is safe at last.
Thank you.
But before you got into all of this, you had the privilege of going on a mission.
I did.
What happened?
It's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
Well, first of all, where did you go?
So I went to Switzerland, actually, Geneva, Switzerland, and I was in France a little bit, but I was in Europe and speaking French and in towns that sometimes spoke half German, half French. I didn't speak much German, but I spoke a little bit of French. I got along, but it was difficult.
Why is that?
The circumstances I was living with, kind of someone I didn't really know that I just kind of met. And we're there to serve people. Just kind of difficult to learn a new language in a culture that you don't really know very well. And then to try to get people to talk to you, which is what you do when you're a missionary.
Right.
Try to get random people to listen to you. It does help you get outside yourself, because I'm an introvert naturally.
Right.
And you need that as a business owner. It actually helped me a lot just to develop my personality and my comfort level with, dealing with people.
How did that change the way that you approach things in your business?
Yeah, it got me out of my shell for sure. And in business, there's a lot of things that you don't want to do. And having that experience being on the mission and doing all kinds of things I didn't really want to do, it helped me to develop that attitude of I'm just going to do it and who cares? Because that's what has to happen. And you just have to say, I don't care what other people think about me. I'm just going to go out and do what I know needs to be done.
A little birdie told me that you did theater when you were in school. Were you on stage, backstage?
Yeah, I actually did for, I think, a couple of years. I did some plays, musicals in high school.
So you were on stage?
I was on stage, yeah. I was even the lead in one of my plays.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
And then how does an introvert become the lead in a theater production?
I did a lot of things in high school involved in I guess I had a diverse experience in high school. I was doing sports, student government, theater, heavily involved in honors and academics. Did you say, how did I get involved in it?
But more importantly, how did this background translate to your business?
Yeah, I mean, it was helpful to get used to being on stage. I was also in a lot of bands. I played the keyboard, a lot of bands. So because I'm on stage in here, I've got parents. I feel like I've got 50 parents all staring at me at the same time when we're running behind, and it's like, doctor, when is my kid going to be done today? Yeah, you've got to be okay with having a lot of eyeballs staring at you sometimes.
Sure.
And be okay with managing the crowd.
You have a pretty open floor plan here. And every parent is concerned about their kid. How do you balance the hover, the helicopter parent while you're treating their child and still be practical at the same time and say, hold still while I have these metal implements in your mouth?
I just try to be very open with everybody. We actually let all the parents come back, which not a lot of orthodontists do that, but I actually want the parents to be involved in their kids' treatment. So we let every parent come back. I talk to the parent, I talk to the kid. Obviously, we try to relate to the kid a little differently in the way we motivate them, but
Right.
at the end of the day, I need the kid to wear the rubber bands and to brush their teeth. So anytime I can get mom on board with that, it's a good thing.
Do you teach your patients, the kids especially, how to make rubber band guns?
We don't teach them how to make rubber band guns. Well, that's a great idea. Yeah, I used to have one of those.
Well, and I grew up in Ridgecrest, and the orthodontist he would do that.
Oh yeah,
Much to the parents' chagrin.
nice.
Please. And that brings us to our second Visioneer question, which is also brought to you by Mike Saba, a Zillow Premier agent with Watson Realty, selling Bakersfield homes since 1992. Give Mike Saba a call at 661-203-8406 or reach him at mikesaba1@icloud.com today. Visioneer Cardall asks, how do you motivate yourself to tackle tasks immediately, even when they're unappealing?
Man, Cardall, that is a great question because I think that's something that we all struggle with at times. I mean, that's a battle I've been fighting, I think, my whole entire life from the time I was little.
Even when you're on the mission and there's snow everywhere and you didn't want to get out.
Exactly. You don't want to leave the house sometimes when it's negative 20 degrees outside. But, you know, we have to find that internal motivation somehow. Sometimes it helps to have somebody externally motivating you, which I do have team members sometimes that send me emails and say, Dr. Cardall, I need this now. And so that helps me to motivate me sometimes. But, you know, I read that book, the 10X Rule, and I remember one time it said, whatever you don't want to do right now is probably what you need to do most. And I've always kind of remembered that. Sometimes the things you don't want to do are the things you really need to focus on and just do them.
Especially those of us with ADHD, the last thing we want to do are charts.
That's for sure.
When you have to do charts, how do you say, okay, I have to do them? How do you push yourself to do that kind of a thing?
I have a signed poster of Kobe Bryant. You know, that Mamba mentality, getting up at 4 a.m. is just what he did. That's how he became one of the greatest of all time. And so I try to keep that in mind. I have that poster up, and I'm a big Lakers fan. I'm actually wearing my Lakers socks. I'm always following the Lakers, but at the end of the day, everything falls back on you when you're the business owner. And so you have to get it done. And I take my responsibility very seriously. I feel like it's a sacred responsibility. So at the end of the day, if I don't want to do something, I think, you know, these people have entrusted their health, their smile, their confidence to me and I've got to get the job done. So at the end of the day, I just do it. No matter whether you want to or not, that's what you have to do when you're a business owner.
What is the longest period of time it's taken for a patient to go through their treatment?
Oh, that's a good question. You know, I would say, man, I try to never have anybody in treatment longer than 3.5 years. I have had quite a few patients actually who have disappeared on me for periods of time. And so I've had people who come back and they just show up randomly again after being gone for a year or two. After we've been sending them letters, where are you? We need to finish your treatment. Occasionally they'll show back up, and so it can extend. You know, in those cases, I've had people 5-6 years even where they just show up again at my office.
Some people's smiles are more difficult than others. How do you prevent the patient from judging their own performance against their siblings or their parents?
We can't help it just in what we're dealt with in life. Genetics is the reason for why most people have the malocclusion that they have, or the smile they have. So, and everyone has different genetics, even in the same family. Somebody gets it from mom, somebody gets it from dad. You know, somebody might get it from great-grandparent or somebody. It's not fair to compare yourself to your siblings and what they had to go through necessarily, because somebody might need 2 phases where they have a combined like 4 years in treatment, and another person might be only a year or less.
It's no secret that there's a lot of business owners who are struggling right now. And some would even argue that the American dream is dead. Is it?
It's definitely not.
Why not?
Well, I still have friends and colleagues who are still doing great. I mean, it's not easy, and it may be harder than it was. You can still make it happen, but you may have to think outside the box. You may have to do some things that you don't want to do. You may be working nights and weekends, and it may not be the lifestyle that you want, but my grandpa used to always say there's always room at the top. So if you want to be at the top, there's always people who want great services, and there's people who are willing to pay for those. So if you're willing to provide that amazing service, you're always going to have a job.
Dr. Cardall, thank you for joining us here on Small Business Celebration. If Visioneers want to get in touch with you, how do they do that?
They can always email me, Dr. Cardall at cardallorthodontics.com. It's just Dr. Cardall. They can always call our office. Our office number is 661-515-1234.
Nice!
We're on social media, on Instagram, Facebook. Our website is cardallortho.com.
And where are you located at?
We're at 1710 Callaway Drive in Bakersfield, pretty centrally located off the West Side Parkway. And they can schedule a free consultation, and they can do that either online on our website, or they can give us a call. And so consultations are free, and we'll take a look and go over everything and let them know if they could benefit from treatment.
And I'll be right back with my final thought, the safety valve that you need in handling complaints. The safety valve in handling customers' complaints. Many years ago, there was a Visioneer who opened a business machine shop where they sold desktop computers and fax machines and the like. Yeah, back in the day when fax machines were a thing. One day, he had a customer barge into his office, just upset as upset can be. And he just started lighting into this Visioneer. And the Visioneer put aside what he was doing, and the customer just gave him the third degree. And in the process, the Visioneer took out a piece of paper out of his desk and a pen and started taking notes about what the customer was complaining about. And the customer started talking about how when his employees went through and they started putting in all the data, and the customer tried to retrieve that data, all he got was just gibberish all over the screen, and things just weren't working right with this and that and the other thing. And it didn't take the Visioneer very long to realize that his team had inadvertently forgot to mention a minor little step in one of the drop-down menus, that if you went to the wrong place, yeah, it looked like gibberish on the screen. But in the process of allowing the customer to vent, he also realized something else. The customer was having problems with his point-of-sale system. He was also having problems with his third-party accounting system that the Visioneer did not sell him. He was also having problems with several other machine-related things in his office. And when the customer had finally let off all of the steam and finally sat down, the Visioneer leaned forward and with a smile said, "I think I know the solution to your problem." And with another piece of paper, he literally drew out for the customer where the right drop-down menu was so that the customer could easily retrieve his data. In addition, he said, "I think I may have a solution for your point-of-sale system, your accounting system, and a couple other problems that you're having. I don't have it right now, but why don't we get together next week and I'll show you." To this day, that business sells more than just computers and no longer fax machines. They sell point-of-sale systems and accounting software and a whole variety of network solutions. All because the Visioneer had taken a moment to pause, to listen, take notes, and more importantly, let the customer vent, the safety valve in handling complaints. I hope you enjoyed our conversation this week here on Small Business Celebration, and I hope you learned something that you can use today to grow a strong and profitable business. And we'll see you here again next week when we celebrate another small business making a big breakthrough.
The fastest way to get straight teeth is by doing what your orthodontist advises you to do when you're in treatment, which means like wear your rubber bands, don't break off your brackets if you're in braces by eating all the things that you're not supposed to eat. Take good care of them, and typically if you do that and you go to an orthodontist who's very efficient, you'll get results very quickly. The way to choose between braces and Invisalign is whatever suits your lifestyle better. You can go after the recommendation of your orthodontist as well. In my office, typically I'll give you both options because I'm very comfortable with either option. If you're not going to wear your aligners, obviously you shouldn't go that route. If you could wear them well, that's a great option for you if it fits your lifestyle. So what do I think of mewing? There is some truth behind it. We actually talk about tongue training very frequently with our patients, about having the tongue rest up on the roof of the mouth because the tongue does naturally develop the palate, but it needs to sit up on the palate all day long every day. And you're not going to get that Brad Pitt jawline just because you hold your tongue up on the roof of your mouth. So there's some truth probably to it, but a lot that is not exactly true. To get orthodontics is, I've had patients in their 90s. It's never really too late. She was getting ready for a big birthday. I can't remember if it was her 90th or 95th birthday. Her lower teeth had kind of gone crooked, and sometimes that can happen even late in life. She wanted those teeth to be nice and straight and pretty for her big birthday celebration. And we got it done just in time. As an orthodontist, I get my teeth cleaned actually by my wife, who's a registered dental hygienist. I don't actually go to your typical dental office. She cleans them right here in one of these chairs. When I need dental work, I do go to a dentist. I've actually gone to Dr. Jim Payton. He's a very good dentist here locally. Never get your teeth whitened more than every few months, I would say. I think after you've initially whitened. If you go too white and you're constantly whitening for months and months at a time, sometimes the teeth can take on like almost a bluish gray appearance where they almost become translucent. Doesn't happen too often, but it's just good to keep in mind that if you're doing it every day for months and months. Should you have your wisdom teeth pulled? I would say that if there's not enough room for them, then you should get them pulled because they might partially erupt, ends up being just a big pocket in the back of your mouth where bacteria can get trapped and then you get an infection, and it's always at the worst time, like on Christmas Day or Thanksgiving and offices are all closed and then you're in a lot of pain. You should get them out if there's not room and they're at risk of getting infected.